Okay, so what I'm doing today is arpeggios, and this is something that all bass players need to know how to do because that's a whole lot of what we do when we're playing the bass. I'm going to be in the key of C, so there's no sharps or flats. I am using a 5-string bass, so keep in mind that this string right here is my B string. So if you're looking at a 4-string bass, that's going to look a little different. But there's 4 triads that we need to talk about to start with in the key of C. So I'm playing the 3rd fret on the A string. That's the note C. I'm playing the 2nd fret on the D string. That's the note E. I'm playing the 5th fret on the D string. That's the note G. And I'm going to go ahead and play the octave C. So that makes this E, G, and C. So out of a C major scale, which goes like this, what I'm doing is playing the 1st note of the scale, the 3rd note of the scale, the 5th note of the scale, and the octave. And something that I tell all my students that everybody should do in order to get familiar with these is to drill them, which means doing them over and over and over again so that it becomes real automatic. Okay, so that's C major, playing the root, the 3rd, the 5th, and the octave. Now, if I want to change that chord to C minor, I'm still going to start on C, but instead of starting with my 2nd finger, I'm starting with my 1st finger. So that's C. I'm going to get the flat 3rd, which is right here. This is the 6th fret of the A string. The note is E flat. And then I'm going to play G at the 5th fret of the D string. Then I'm going to play the octave C again. Back to G, back to E flat, back to C. So C minor, the only thing different from C major is that I flatted the 3rd by a half step. And you should be able to hear how it goes from happy kind of sound to a little bit sad. Okay. Now I could have gotten that flat 3rd up here, but that's a little bit more awkward way to do it. So if you put your 1st finger on the C, you can reach the flat 3rd with your 4th finger, get the G, and then the C. Okay, just like that. All right, now the next triad that we need to do is called a diminished. So we did major, we did minor. Now diminished has a flat 3 like the minor, but we also flat the 5. So instead of playing this G that we've been playing, this time we're going to play G flat. So we've got C, E flat at the 6th fret, G flat at the 4th fret of the D string, and then the octave C. So that's like this: C, E flat, G flat, C, G flat, E flat, C. And again, drilling it is the key to success because it needs to be automatic. All right, so now that's 3 of them. We did major, minor, and diminished. The 4th one is called an augmented. We're still on C, but this time I'm going to start with my 3rd finger on C, and I'm going to play C, then E, 2nd fret, D string, and now we need a sharp 5. So instead of G, which was here, or open G, we're going to add that G sharp. So I've got C, E, G sharp, C. Okay. Now, an easier way to do that, if you come down here to the 8th fret of the E string, there's C, here's E, here's G sharp, and here's C. So I'm just playing notes almost at like an angle across the fretboard, kind of going that way. So that's an easy way to get the augmented. Okay, so now let's talk about the seventh chord arpeggios. So with the seventh chord, if we go back to the C major scale, this time we're going to use the root or the 1, the 3, the 5, and we're going to play the seventh note. That's B natural. And then back to G, back to E, and C. So that one's called a major 7. So it goes like this: C, E, G, B natural, G, E, C. Now I left the octave off because it's easier to drill it if you don't play the octave. And that rhythm that I'm doing is a triplet basically. So it's like triplet, triplet. And that makes drilling it really easy. Now, the next one of the seventh chords is minor 7. So I'm going to play C. Since I said minor, I'm going to first finger on the C. I'm going to have the flat third. I'm going to have the G, which is the regular 5th. And now we're going to flat the 7. So B natural was the 7. Now it's B flat. So I've got 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, back to 5, flat 3, 1. Okay. Now that's 2 of the 7th chords. We could also have a half diminished 7. So with that, we've got C, flat 3. Now I'm going to flat the 5, so that's G flat, and we're going to play B flat. Back to flat 5, flat 3, 1. So we've got C, E flat, G flat, B flat. Okay. Now we could also have a fully diminished 7. And what happens there is we have the C, flat third, flat 5, and now we're going to double flat the 7, which becomes this A right here. Now we could have done it up here, because remember the 7 was B, and then we had flat 7. Now if we double flat the 7, we'd be on A. But this fingering is kind of awkward. So what I like to do is do this 1, 4, 1, 4. Okay. Now another one that we haven't talked about would be the dominant 7 arpeggio. For that one, it's like a major in that we go back to second finger on C, then first finger for E, fourth finger for G, and now we still want the flat 7, which was B flat. Okay, so that's dominant 7. 1, 3, 5, flat 7. Okay, now there's a couple more that we didn't, let's see, we need to talk about augmented 7. So with an augmented 7, we've got C with my third finger, E, G sharp, and the flat 7. So that's C, E, G sharp, B flat. Okay, and the last one is called a minor major 7. And since I said minor, think first finger on the C. So you've got C to E flat to G, and we're going to play the B natural. So it's 1, flat 3, E flat, G, B natural. Okay, now that one doesn't come up very often, but what I'm always saying is if you don't know it and it comes up, that's a problem. So you got to know it, and then every now and then you might see it. Okay, so those are all the arpeggios that I make my students learn and that I practice on a regular basis. Okay, I hope that helps you.